So, Ravens flock, we are approaching the end of training camp. The regular season is very, very close, and we have gotten some disheartening as well as some extremely scary news. The scary news, of course, being that Lamar Jackson yesterday during practice apparently got injured. They're claiming that it was a foot related injury, like somebody stepped on his foot and he felt funny and left practice 40 minutes early. But there's also been reports claiming that he actually was also flexing his hand and wrist, which, to be fair, you could flex your hand and wrist and not be, have a hand injury. But at the same time, it almost reminds me of that situation on the Dolphins a few years ago where Tua clearly got a concussion versus the Bills, and then they turned around and said that it wasn't a concussion, he hurt his back. That being said, though, most of us have not witnessed what actually happened on the play. So for the time being, we have to give it the benefit of the doubt and assume that him flexing his wrist and the alleged foot injury, are completely unrelated. John Harbaugh has given an update on this foot situation, basically saying that Lamar got an x-ray and his foot apparently is okay, so everything should be fine. However, Cooper Rush was the main guy practicing earlier today. We also got reports about Emory Jones Jr., the offensive lineman. Unfortunately, he's probably not going to play this season. Like, right now, he's still on the NFI list. Earliest he could come back is maybe like week 5. But again, one thing that always makes Ravens fans a little uneasy is the fact that Harbaugh, they usually downplay how severe certain injuries are with a lot of players. They said that Emory was going to miss most of training camp, almost implying that he would still be ready either by week 1 or in that first couple weeks of the season. However, that's not the case. They're saying the injury apparently was worse than they thought. And at this point, I'm just going to assume he's not playing this season, unfortunately. I wanted to see him out there, but again, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. So at this point, the starting 5 for the offensive lineman has been set as Ronnie Stanley, Andrew Voorhees, Tyler Linderbaum, Daniel Falele, and Roger Rosengarten. Which, I mean, to be fair, there's much worse offensive lines in the NFL. But we all know that the guard position makes us a bit nervous. Whether it's Falele, whether they swap out Falele for Ben Cleveland, whether they even Andrew Voorhees at left guard, I don't think any of these guys has a crazy high ceiling. But at the same time, I'm still hoping for the best because ultimately we don't need these guys to have the highest ceiling at the end of the day. Like, we have a Pro Bowl caliber left tackle who, after getting banged up for a couple years, he's back to playing at a relatively high level. He's not playing like he's in his prime anymore, but Ronnie is still playing at a very high level. So we got a solid left tackle. Tyler Linderbaum's like a top 5 center. Roger Rosengarten surprised everybody last year and went head to head with some of the best edge rushers in the league, like a Max Crosby, and held his own. So at this point, we can confidently say we have 3 out of 5 very good offensive linemen. Unfortunately, the 2 guard positions make me a bit nervous still, but Andrew Voorhees has looked solid in the preseason. Of course, it's a different level of competition, but if Andrew Voorhees can take that confidence and into the season coming up, if we only have one questionable offensive lineman, whether it's Voorhees or Falele or Cleveland, whoever, if it's just one, I think we could be just fine. 2, I'm a lot more nervous, but so far it looks like we only have questions about the right guard position, whether it's Falele or Cleveland. We all know Harbaugh doesn't like Cleveland, so Cleveland's not really in consideration. It's just a matter of, can Falele put it all together this year? We know he has the measurables. He didn't look nearly as bad in the second preseason game as he did in the first preseason game. Can we just see him go out there and be competent? I would like to see that. That would make me very excited. Other injury news that I forgot to mention, Adisa Isaac got hurt. I believe it was either the first preseason game or the second preseason game. I don't think I mentioned that. So with him being out, I mean, that pretty much locks in David Ojabo into the lineup. Hopefully, David makes the most of that opportunity. We'll see how long Adisa ends up missing, how much time he ends up missing. But let me know, is there anybody that's on the brink of getting cut on the 53-man roster that you believe has a chance of actually surprising everybody and getting on the roster? Guys like Corey Bullock or Jay Higgins. Is there any one of those guys that you consider a favorite? And also, do you think that Lamar's injury is more serious than the Ravens are letting on?